Rockstar, of course, the movie starring Mark Wahlberg and Jennifer Aniston, supposedly loosely based on the story of Ripper Owens, who replaced Rob Halford in Judas Priest. A lot of people, critically, that movie did not do very well. It got kind of panned, but I'll tell you, me and my wife love that movie, and we've probably watched it 25 times. And the one thing that people will say, even if they say the movie is cheesy, is they will all say the singing on that soundtrack is incredible. Between you and Mike from Steelheart,
right?
There is some amazing vocals. So tell everyone when they're watching that movie, what songs are you singing? When you're singing "Stand Up," right?
I sing "Stand Up" on the first version of it. Obviously, Wahlberg's in the middle of the movie when he's actually replaced the singer in Steel Dragon, and he's doing his version. That was Millie or Mike Mativic, whichever. He goes by Millie now, is his born name. And so that song was sung 3 times in the movie. The very end, Miles Kennedy supplied his own vocals as well as starred in the role of replacing Wahlberg now in Steel Dragon. So the first version you hear in the beginning of the movie is my version. And I'm the voice of Bobby Beers, which is the original singer of Steel Dragon, the guy that pulls the wig off and exclaims that he's really gay.
Yeah.
And also the very first song that's playing when the credits are rolling, a song called "Living the Life." That's also me. It's before the concert scene. Basically, the credits are rolling. You see the guys in the car, and they pull alongside the pickup truck, and they're rocking out. That's my voice in that song. I got one more on the movie soundtrack on the album, but I don't think it appeared in the movie. It's a song called "Wasted Generation." So I got 3 total.
Wow.
And that I have to kind of go back to what you said about the movie not really resonating or finding its legs. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that it came out the weekend before 9/11. Because I remember distinctly I had a gig in Florida. I flew out to Tampa that weekend. Before the gig that night, on the Saturday night, we all went out. The movie was just released. We went to go watch it in a theater in the afternoon, a matinee, just to kind of get the feeling like, wow, this is what it's like to watch a movie that my voice is in, but just as a general public seater. Yeah. And so literally 9/11 happened days after. And I think that movie would have found a way bigger audience had it not been for the entire industry and the world basically shutting down after 9/11.
Right.
It literally was days before. And the good news out of the whole thing is it did resonate on like VH1 Classics. Basically that movie's always on those kind of channels, and it did find a cult following audience. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why to this day I put "Stand Up and Shout" or "Living the Life" in my live set, whatever band I'm actually touring with.
Yeah. I love the movie, man. I mean, me and my wife watch it all the time. We're total suckers for that movie. So how did you get that gig? How did that all come about?
I'll give you the abridged version of this. I don't want every story to be 20 minutes long, and we miss covering a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, they're fascinating stories, though.
Yeah, it's fun to tell, and someday I'd love to write a book where I can detail all the information. I'm really good friends with the guys in Stryper since I joined Yngwie, since the first tour in '85. They used to come see us play. I used to go see them play. We became really, really close friends. In 90 or 91, I forgot which year it was, they finally recorded their one and only secular album called "Against the Law." And I remember Michael calling me and asking me if I would come and lend a hand with some backing vocals, because they always did their own backing vocals. But when they sing, everything sounds so angelic. And they wanted this album to have a bigger statement, and more of a tougher statement. But they wanted more punch with their backing vocals. So they asked me to come in and help them beef them up, and which I did. I sang backing vocals on every song. And Tom Werman produced that album. And he basically, that guy's great. I can use him other things. He basically took my information. And from that day forward, I think I sang background on every album he produced until he went into retirement. I remember doing Babylon AD, Lita Ford, Steelheart, Pariah. We did quite a few things.
Hold the phone.
From that, yes.
Hold the phone real quick.
Let's come back to Pariah.
Our producer, the producer of this show, is Jared Tootin. Jared Tootin is the guitar player for Pariah.
Of course.
Yeah. So, I didn't know that either until about an hour ago.
Yeah,
That's
that
crazy.
is just like that 6 degrees of separation,
Absolutely.
working overtime right there. So I'm
Dude, I
sorry.
joke about it all the time, but you
Crazy.
can actually do a 6 degrees of Jeff Scott Soto. I swear to God,
Yeah.
I am linked to basically everyone in the music industry.
No one knows. No one
within
knows
6
this.
degrees.
No one knows that Kevin Bacon is your cousin. So yeah, Werman
So
gets
it's-
your info. He's keeping you busy.
So he basically retired, I believe, in '96 or '97. I think the last album he did before retirement was the Pariah album.
Oh.
And
Well,
from there,
that would have been in 91 or 92.
no, we're
Yeah,
talking
Pariah was 91 or 92. 92.
to Mock a Killingbird, really?
Yep.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so, but I'm gonna look it up so we can actually get that fact checked. But the bottom line is,
Yep.
he did retire. He bought a B&B in Maine or something like that, and he just didn't want to do anything to do with the music industry anymore until the Rockstar movie was made, and they realized this is a movie depicting the '80s. We need the top '80s producer to come in and do the soundtrack for us. So I don't know how they got Tom, but they talked him into it. And from there, when they were talking about singers for this, he said, well, one of the singers I'm putting in the hat is somebody I work with as a backing vocalist. I'm dying to work with him as a lead vocalist, and that's Jeff Scott Soto. And so it was from that I was able to go in and kind of demo up a couple of the songs. Luckily, again, I had the backing of Zach, Jason Bonham, Jeff Pilson. These are my buddies as well. And they were like, Jeff has got to do it. He's got to, so they basically, everybody was fighting for me.
Nice.
And I did sing all the songs. They wanted to hear where my voice fit for the actual character. And in the end, they thought Jeff sounds too seasoned. He sounds too mature. So he should be the voice of the original singer. And we'll use Mativik's voice for Mark Wahlberg, who's the new guy. He sounds more youthful, more like he's still trying to find himself. That's the voice that Mike was able to give to Mark. So that's how I was delegated as the veteran singer.
Can't really argue with that.
That's amazing.
When you kind of think about tone, you can't really argue with that.
And Millie's amazing too. The stuff he did with Steelheart, but because he's more of the high screamer guy, as everybody's known from Steelheart songs, I was more of a bellowy belter, like from the Dio end of the spectrum. And so we were two different singers on that respect. But even though we both had range, our voices they had different characteristics that the producer and director were looking for their characters.
Yeah, you have a warmer tone.
So so Miles Kennedy is in the movie, and he's the kid that gets handed the mic at the very end and basically takes over as the singer for Steel Dragon. Does he actually sing on the soundtrack also, or is it just?
I don't know if they use his voice on the soundtrack. To be honest with you, I'd have to find the album and brush off the dust to see if he's on it. I don't think so. I think
I double checked that Pariah release. The record was released in '93, so the sessions were in '92.
Okay, so you were right on that respect.
He made. I think he made a couple more records after that. Probably not many.
Right. I think he was definitely at the tail end, so that makes sense.
That's a really great hookup from the Striper camp for you just getting in there with Werman and you hitting it off. That's fantastic.
It was a great thing, and then and it was a pleasure working for Tom. But the best part about working for Tom is the respect that he gave me and my knowledge on how to create backing vocals, how to stack the vocals, how to find the harmonies, find the notes. Tom is a great producer in terms of how things feel and getting the vibe. He's not a musical guy. He's not going to say, "Hey, sing the F sharp above the D," or sing the root note. He doesn't give you those kind of terms. He just knows when he hears it, it sounds good and it sounds right, or it sounds like shit. And so I think he respected my knowledge for the theory side of things, on top of the fact that I worked really fast and very effectively. And that's one of the reasons why I got to do so many records with him. It was a lot of fun. It was a great learning experience for me, and another thing more notches to my resume.
Wow.
Well, and when you think about Tom's resume, it's like,
oh, geez.
Why wouldn't you?
Oh,
It's
God,
like, wow. You could
Trick, Ted Nugent, Mother's Finest. Oh, my God.
It goes and goes and goes and goes. And then for others, kicks, half the bands on Monsters on the Mountain, Monsters of Rock,
Yeah.
Tom Werman did that shit. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.